Good morning and welcome to another program in the Universal Energies. Before I introduce my guest today, this is the program that gives you the tools so you can find out about your understandings of faith and beliefs. When we are born, and whether you believe you come from spirit or not, you are dictated through your peer pressures of what you believe. When you go to school, you are dictated again from your peer pressures in school what faith you run and you believe in. When you get to a certain age, you may find that you want to find your own way. A lot of people, through the dictation that they've had, especially in my day, don't want to rock any boats. So this program here is to give you some idea that there are many different factions and faiths and beliefs out there. The study so far is in excess of 360 different faiths throughout the world. Have they got a common denominator? Have they got a goal? We don't know. My guest today is Miss Jodie Ruskin, who is a working ministerial medium. Pleased to meet you.
Thank you.
Right. Today we're going to find out all about your life. You like me to say that you are a working ministerial medium.
Yep.
Explain. Give the listeners some idea what this is.
Well, for me, it's like with being a reverend and ordained minister, I can do like weddings, funerals, spiritual namings. So you kind of do the same as normal religions, but it's just in a different way. And then my mediumship I use to give comfort and proof that when we leave our vehicle, we go home and life is ever existing, and we never our soul or our spirit never really dies. It's just our vehicle that we kind of leave behind. And it's trying to make people understand that when we grieve the physical body. We don't grieve the spirit, we grieve the physical body, because we're never going to see that physical body again. So it's about proving that.
I'm sure that the viewers understand that, but there'll be an awful lot that will question that being a minister, what's the difference between being a spiritual minister and being an ordained Baptist or a Jehovah's Witness? You can go ministers in there, or any other faith.
For me, it's just I can put that spiritual twist on it. I can do a spiritual or a non-spiritual. There is a religion side to it, but for me, the ones I do personally are more about evolving the spirit and being more spiritual. Yeah. It's about this, even down to the songs and the hymns are the spiritual ones that you would find in any SNU church. So for me, it's not just about the other religions. For me, it's a spiritual religion.
Right. Okay. That beggars the questions that I know I'm going to get asked through comments. Could you, being a minister in any other church?
No.
Why would that be?
Because that would then bring conflict to their church.
Is there not the name minister ministering of the whole?
Yes, it is. But the other religions tend to keep it all to their own little kind of groups, and they don't allow it to spread out.
I have this way of drawing things out of you, Jodie, and that's what the listeners will want to know, because they will respect what you're saying, but they understand that by drawing the question out of you, it's a conflict of different religions. And as we've talked before, once we all get together, having one common denominator, then we move on as a nation, and I think within this thing. So, let's talk about when you first started.
Okay, yep.
So, we know that, or I know who influenced you. Explain and how you got onto this road that you're walking.
Basically, I got onto this road because my friend wanted to go to a spiritualist meeting. She'd been nagging me for months, so I ended up going with her. I met a lovely man called Fred Dartnell. I gave him kind of a spontaneous read, and then I went on with my life, and then I bumped into him on a charity night that we were going with, that had mediumships. I was going with my family, and he kind of got me to start doing one-to-ones there, and that's what I did for 3 years. And then he tricked me to do platform, and that's how I started. I've never kind of sat in circle, I've just kind of gone with the flow. But if it wasn't for him, I would never have made that move.
Right, okay. Do you think that it is necessary for people to develop, or have they got something when they were born?
I believe that you have it when you're born. I believe, because for me it's something that's always been in the background that I've always had, and I choose to take it forward. Some people choose to leave it behind.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. You know, I do understand, and the listeners will understand, and the viewers will understand, because some people watch this who can't actually see.
Yep.
So that's why I say the two differences here. They will understand because they have certain traits about themselves that think they might have to develop and find out.
Uh-huh.
We all know that the officers of the spiritual churches, they only have to ask and they can be pushed down a channel that perhaps they need to go here. Okay. We have heard a lot of sayings about people that are natural healers, natural mediums.
Yep.
What is your take on that?
I think we're all, for me, in my opinion, we're all natural. I just feel that when you're older, sometimes you just need someone to teach you how to tap into it, but I believe each and every one of us have got it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to, like anything, you go to school, you learn to read and write, the teacher teaches you, and I just feel sometimes with the spiritual side or the mediumship side, you just need to be taught how to open your third eye, how to become aware, because most of my clients, they do either sense or know spirit around them, but they don't always realise the signs. And for me, it's just about teaching people to realise the signs. But I believe each and every one of us have got it.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, and we're all, without going down that road too much, because we've already done that with other people on the programmes, we've all got an understanding from spirit. Do you believe that we are born from spirit?
I do.
Do you believe that we go back to spirit?
Absolutely.
No matter what, or whatever's happened on this earth plane?
I do, no matter what happens on the earth plane, you will go over to spirit. I do believe there are different levels. So depending on what sort of life you've had will depend on what different level you go on. But I also, when I call it going home, but I believe when I go home, I will watch a basic video of my life so I can learn where I've gone wrong and the mistakes, and then that's where you decide what level you're going on.
Right, okay. Let me throw into the pot now, and I haven't asked you this before, free will.
Yep.
What is your explanation of that?
We've all got free will. My opinion is you've got free will to a point, because I believe that before you come to the airplane, you pick your life, you pick the lessons you want. So when you're here, yes, you've got free will, but you'll always be guided back to what you've picked to learn along the way.
Right, okay. So there's a little bit of the viewers will look at it. There's a little bit of conflict there with the question that you've just been asked, and your explanation was very good and perfect.
Yep.
But they will say that you will say free will,
Mhm.
and then you say to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Surely it can't be free if there's conditions put on it.
No, true. I say it and I explain it that way because if you come off your pathway, I always find, in my personal opinion, when I've come off my pathway, I'm always drawn back in a different way. So that's why I say free will to a point.
Right, okay.
Because that's
I understand
Yeah.
this, but I'm looking at it generically for someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
And I have to project myself for that, with all due respect to you, my dear. So, we now know how you first started.
Mhm.
How long ago was this?
Coming up 9 years.
Coming up 9 years. And those 9 years, your roads have opened up all over the place,
Absolutely.
like they do. Yeah, okay. And you brought a lot of people in along those roads to open their eyes, if you like. And I'm just thinking of that song, Open Your Eyes, because that's one of my favourites here. Okay. Have you looked down other, let's call it religious paths in your life?
I have, and I haven't done loads of it, but I have studied other little bits of religion. I find people find that this is a bit weird, but I love other religions. I totally respect it. I love learning about it. I love understanding. And when I get to talk to people that are different backgrounds and religions, I'm quite nosy because I just want to understand.
Yeah, well, once you start on this road of going down different faiths and beliefs, and I've been doing this for 20 odd years, I lecture on Egyptology and all history because I've found out all about it, and it's given people tools again. I have become a pagan because of a situation that is, everything was pagan before a certain person came along, and without going into anything, and then things have been adapted and put down as they came along. And unfortunately we're still living under a situation of the control and dictation that is around this religious faction. That's why I ask you now, do you have to believe in a religious God or energy to be spiritual?
I don't believe you do. I do believe in energy and in a higher power. I can't 100% put my hand on my heart and say I believe in a God.
Right, okay. That opens a ball game up for a lot of things.
Yep.
And one of the things is that when we do a divine service, we start off with a prayer.
Yep.
I ask my people if they want to when they come, they can do it or not.
Yep.
They can do it to the universe,
Yep.
but in the spiritual church we do it to a God.
God, yep.
Most people, shall I say, because I certainly don't, they do it to a God.
Yep.
But it makes no difference what you believe.
Yep.
So, without putting you on the spot, Nadia, do you have to believe in a God to be a Christian?
I don't know if it's believe in God. I feel to be a Christian you have to believe in something. For me, the reason I don't believe in a God is because I feel that I don't know if it is a God as such. I feel it's everything.
Yeah, it's an energy, and
Yeah.
I do understand that. This is respect, of course,
no, I
because
know.
of the listeners here and the viewers here.
Some people in Christianity believe that there is a God, but I know that I've spoken to some Christianities that have got the same beliefs as I've got, that there's a higher being, but they're not sure if it's whether they would word it as God.
Yeah, I do understand that.
Christianity for me, it's a flip of a coin. It depends who you talk to, because I feel at times they're divided. And I feel at times, especially with some of the friends that I've got, when I really get to talk to them, they don't always understand the way of life, of the teaching of Christianity.
Just explain a bit about that without going into too much detail, and personal stuff leave out.
Yep. For me, that's about, like I said, some conversations I've had with people. They seem to question it all the time, and when they come up into situations, they can't find an answer within their religion. And I've had somebody say to me quite recently, with their beliefs, why do things happen if there was a God?
That's the questions that most people ask, yep. And that's fair. The viewers will understand that.
Yep.
Okay. Another question that asks is the conflict of being a spiritualist and a minister is talking to the dead.
Yep.
If you know your Quran or Bible,
yep.
you will know that in there it says beware of charlatans and false prophets,
yep.
and people who assume to talk to people who have passed from this land. At the end of the day, then that may be a situation that is taken too literally.
Yep.
But the truth can never be altered if you believe it is the truth. And the conflict is through Christianity, is that it's been altered in so many guises over a long period of time, adapted to the situation of the people at the time. Okay, so maybe that understanding is there. People will have tools to go and research it, yep. from the Bible or the Quran, yep. or the Muslim's faith or whatever they believe. We've touched on situations before whereby we've said that when everybody sits down together,
yep.
no matter of creed, colour or religious or gender, whatever, things will start to move forward.
Yep.
And you know that the listeners will know about the centre that we've started here. Yep. What is your take on that?
What, on the...
About people sitting together of all faiths and denominations?
I think every single person should do it. I think it's the way forward. I know my personal belief is that all religions, no matter what your background, should be able to feel that everyone can come together and get on. And I'm not saying it's going to change the world, but for me, you getting a small group of people together is the start of people realising it doesn't matter what background or religion you come from.
No. And that is the be all and end of all questions, really, for that situation, so that everybody can move on together here. Okay, so let me take you back to being a minister now. And our viewers will understand how you got into ministerial work because of your clients. And that's really good, because that's moving people on and helping them to do whatever happens to be that they require. They require something here. Okay. Being a minister and being a working medium. Do you think there's a conflict there?
I don't feel that there's a conflict for me personally, no. Because for me it's just about proving that when we leave our vehicle we go home, and for me it's just an extension. I normally meet people to give a reading because they've already lost somebody that they love. For me, it's just about a different part of helping those people on their journey. Whether it's people that are grieving or whether it's people that are going home, for me, I believe and I feel it's just, for me, it's an extension of helping them on their journey, whether it's spirit side or earth side.
Well put. That's very well put. I'd like to turn your attention now to the philosophy side of mediumship.
Yep.
It all depends on the person who's giving that philosophy out and their inspirers, etc., etc. There are many, many different opinions because we are all different.
Yep.
The basic opinions alter quite a lot. There may be somebody talking about what happens when we first leave this earth, and if we think we go to spirit, and I have to do this generically for the listener, if we think we go to spirit, what happens when we get there, first of all, and how do we progress, and how long do we hold on to our memory before we lose it and we start to go higher if necessary. Other people will differ greatly in that opinion. What is your take on that?
My take on that is that, you know, as you go on in your spiritual journey, because I believe that your journey carries on whether you're earth plane or spirit side. For me, you'll always have that memory. And for me, depending on what levels you go to in the spirit world will depend on how your memories are. For me, the higher up you go, you'll have that memory. But for me, the way I describe it, you kind of put it in a box, so it's always there. But you kind of put it in a box depending on how high you go. I've had it time and time again where people come through and, you know, they say that they've still got their memories and they kind of still can remember their life. And, you know, they're still doing things over in the spirit world. So it all depends on basically anyone's own belief system, really. But for me, I still believe you had those memories.
Yeah.
But like, the way I describe it, you put it in a little box.
Yeah, and our viewers will know that,
Yeah.
and they will understand that. But there will be people asking questions that, for instance, do you believe that the soul has a memory? And if so, why do we have a memory? Because it's an emotional situation. It's a big emotion. A memory is emotion through the brain and the cerebral cortex. But having said that, when we go to spirit, we have not got a physical body. We are just etheric.
Yep. Absolutely.
And the essence of us passes over. So therefore we have no emotions.
No.
So if we remember certain things, how long do we remember them for? Do we need them for a while? Or do we not need them? And we're not going to be complete saints when we pass over to spirit. A lot of people think we are.
Absolutely not, no.
I'm certainly not going to be a saint because they've been taking me bit by bit for many years over there. And at the end of the day, I think that if they put me back together again, no matter, I don't know what I'm going to be. But at the end of the day, then people are looking at this. Okay, so your take on that, please, before we start to go somewhere else.
My take on that is that you have your memories as long as you need them. I don't feel your soul has got kind of a memory or a brain. I just feel that you're allowed to keep that, not as an emotion, but you're allowed to keep that. Because sometimes when they want to come through and talk to their loved ones, they need to have those memories to prove it's them. So there's a reason for it, if that makes sense.
It does, because otherwise, if they came at totally different, people wouldn't recognise them. Yes,
exactly.
I do understand that. Well, time is getting on. I told you it was going to be quick.
Yep.
And time has really sorted. So let's push on just while we were here at this moment here. Okay. What is your future plans? Have you got future plans? Where do you want to go?
My future plans are to keep my feet firmly on the ground, to keep proving that spirit do exist, we do live on, and for me it's helping anyone that comes in my pathway that needs help, needs guidance, needs support. That's my plans, to keep doing basically what I'm doing because I absolutely love it. but I also have to say, even though I do enjoy it, the minute I feel I'm not helping people, or the minute I feel I'm getting too big-headed, would be the minute I stop.
We have touched on about ego before, and yes, there are that, but unfortunately anybody who speaks in front of people, they either get elated and they want to carry on, or they become the proverbial comedians, if you like.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, we know all that. Yeah. Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure too.
And I know that our viewers here will comment massively on it. Anything that you need to comment on, email addresses, where to find you, contact numbers, etc. Please, before you leave, we'll put that go on the end of the credits here. Anything else that you would like to put on there, and you haven't got, then you can contact us and we can put it on there. But before we go, I'd just like to say that our friend here will be coming up to our centre, and I'm really looking forward to that, and will be giving us a talk, a demonstration, or a tap dance, whatever it happens to be. I don't know, but whatever the situation is, we're going to have a lovely evening. And we know, and I will put on the end of the credits when Jodie is coming, and so that you can come and book in advance and see from there. So without further ado, I say thank you so much, Jodie.
Pleasure.
It's been really nice.